Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews Podcast here with Collector Car Canada. Today, we kick off season 2 of the CR podcast. So we started doing these car reviews back in May of 2024 and 2024. What a year for our little website, our Collector Car website. New corporate records for most units sold, our highest value units sold. We smashed that one 3 times through 2024. So 2025, the second year of the podcast and the 5th year for the business and the website. So we're looking forward to more growth and smashing some more records. And with this auction cycle, I'll mention that we sold the first Ferrari in the company's history in 2024, and that's the only Ferrari we've ever listed. So as I say, we're really kicking this season off with a bang, and I say that because we have not one but 2 Ferraris being offered. So as you're going to see in the rest of the episode, we've got lot 243, a 1987 Ferrari Testarossa 5-speed manual. So this one is a low mileage number. It checks in at under 14,000 kilometers. I'll get right into the details when we're with the car specifically, but as I say, low mileage at under 14,000 miles, 5-speed manual transmission with the gated shifter. It's a 4.9 liter flat 12 engine in the rear. It's called a TPO engine. US market car originally. It's been in Canada over 20 years. So please watch for that. And after we review the Testarossa, we've also got a 1981 Ferrari 308 GTSi. So the first 308s in the mid 70s were GT4. The 4 denoted that there were 4 seats in the 308 GT4. Not too many mid-engine cars with 4 seats, but it only lasted a couple of years in the 70s, and soon after we saw the GTB and the GTS. So this one's a GTS, and I said GTSi. So the S is for Spider. You're going to see that this one has a Targa roof that's removable, and the I is for fuel injected. The first 308s were carbureted, and Ferrari moved to the fuel injection system in the early 80s. So this one, also a US market car and also low mileage, under 38,000 miles on the clock. Both of the cars have 6-digit odometers. So you see a 0 before the first non-zero digit in the odometer. So neat pop culture tie-ins for both of the cars. Testarossa, I think of it as a child of the 80s, as mostly relating to Miami Vice. Officer Sonny Crockett, played by Don Johnson, drove a Testarossa, not in the first season of Miami Vice, but it soon became a big part of the show. Mind you, it was a white car. Both of the Ferraris we have in this episode are Rosso Corsa in Italian, and that just translates to race red in English. With the 308 GTSi, another strong pop culture tie-in from the 80s, and that is that Magnum PI always drove a Ferrari 308. There were 3 different genres of 308 driven by Tom Selleck, and this is the middle one. He started with the carbureted one, then he moved to the GTSi, like the 81 we have, and then later on there was a Quattro Valvole. So here we go. Take a look at the cars. Again, the 1987 Ferrari Testarossa 5-speed manual with under 14,000 kilometers is lot 243 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. And then the 1981 Ferrari 308, a GTSi, also with a 5-speed manual, also with the gated shifter, checking in at under 38,000 miles. It is lot 242 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Okay, that's enough intro onto the cars. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone, and welcome to another great car here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.CA. This car really doesn't need much of an introduction. We have a 1987 Ferrari Testarossa. So a bedroom wall photo, a poster photo for many boys and I suppose girls my age who grew up mostly in the 80s. This one is a 1987, and as you see, it's got the exterior mirrors on both sides, and it does have the hub, so it doesn't have a 5-bolt pattern on the wheels, indicating it's an earlier Testarossa. The first model year was 85, and 4.9 liter flat 12 engine. It's mated to a 5-speed manual here with a gated shifter right below me here. And what we'll do is we'll start it up, then we'll cut this video, then I'll move over and take the video camera by hand. We'll have a listen to the engine and the exhaust, and then we'll do our little tour of the exterior. So this one is going to be lot 243 on CollectorCarCanada.CA, 1987 Ferrari Testarossa with under 14,000 miles. This is a US car. It's been in Canada over 20 years, and today the odometer reads 13,750. So it's going to its new owner with under 14,000 miles. So here we go with a start. All right, so no problem at all with the start. As you might expect, you can see snow in the picture. The car's been stored for 2 or 3 months now since its most recent service, which was an engine out belt service and a new clutch. So that's all within the past couple of 100 miles. We have the work order for that work on the detailed listing. Again, lot 243. But yeah, so a low mileage car, under 14,000 miles. Take a look at the work order for that. I haven't reviewed it in detail yet, but I think it's in and around the $20,000 range. So maintenance is done. It's ready for its new owner. So yeah, so we'll move over and we'll have a listen to the engine and then start the exterior and interior tour. Okay, so we have the engine cover up now, and we'll go in and take a closer listen to it. You can hear the car idling right now. Before we go in, I'll remind people it's a 4.9 liter TPO engine. It's a flat 12, and it's made it to a 5-speed transmission with the gated shifter. So
let's move in and have a closer listen. And we'll get a listen also to the exhaust. There's twin exits on both sides. So I'll do a little walk around of the car with the engine still idling. You can hear how it resonates in a 360 pattern. So you can see those strakes. Of course, they're functional. You can see that's a big intake for the engine. And I was just researching these cars recently, and I mean, this has been a bedroom wall poster for a guy my age who grew up mostly in the 80s. And those strakes, of course, are a very dramatic look, and something with which I'm very familiar, having dreamt of these cars almost my whole life. But I just read how the actual strakes are, as much as anything, a safety feature because the regulators wouldn't allow big openings like this without the strakes. So it is ironic how something that started out as a safety feature became such an amazing design feature. And of course, Testarossa is Italian for red head, and it's referring to this red on the head of the engine you see on each side. So 6 over here and 6 over here for the flat 12. 4.9 liter Tipo. So I'll cut the video now and we'll move towards an exterior tour with the engine not running. Okay, so an exterior tour of the 1987 Ferrari Testarossa, under 14,000 miles, and it's lot 243 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. So the sun has just dipped below the horizon. You can see there's not direct sunlight on the car. We have several videos as well as many photos of the car in direct sunlight. So please take a look at those on the detailed listing. Again, lot 243. And here, as we say farewell to the sun for another day, we'll take a closer look at this 1987 Ferrari Testarossa. So getting close on areas where where the car might be prone to flaws. I don't even notice a single stone chip, certainly on the red paint, but even the black spoiler down below is quite clean. I suppose it might have touched a surface there, but pretty minor looking. And you can see this intake here is clean as well. And looking closely at these light lenses, they look very clean as well. We do have a short little video of the car's retractable headlights coming up and going back down. So you can check those out on the detailed listing. And then as we work our way to the wheels and tires here. So getting close here to the sides, you can see that front one's a 225 50 R16 Goodyear Eagle VR50. I'm going to check with the owner. This detail will be in our detailed listing, but I believe these to be the original tires. Certainly, Goodyear Eagle VRs were OEM tires on an 87 Testarossa. So take a look at our detailed listing for that information. You can also see that I mentioned this earlier, how it's a single hub in the center to remove the wheel. So not your basic 5-bolt system that you might be used to, and which you see later on in the Testarossa's development after '87. And right there, there's the size of the wheel. It's an 8-inch wide by 16-inch diameter wheel rim. Important to note that these are not TRX wheels and tires. They're more the standard, I guess I'll call it North American setup, but not TRXs. So a lot easier to find replacement tires. So here's a picture of the rear, staggered setup. You can see the rim, there's the Ferrari emblem, and you can see that it's a 10-inch wide rim here in the rear, Eagle VR50s, and here's a look at the size. So they're 255s here in the rear. So as they say, a staggered setup. So there's a good look at those. 85 and 86 Testarossas, you'd see a single mirror. This one is equipped with mirrors on either side of the exterior, a good aerodynamic design on them. And then there's the strakes I was mentioning before. It really is a fascinating thing for me that they're as much for safety as for design. The origin is more in the safety end of it. Got the windows down. US spec car, I think I mentioned earlier. So you can see these are the US spec headlight or safety belts at the time. So you can see that power comes across. We'll have a little bit of write-up about that on the detailed listing. And then here's a nice Pininfarina emblem to remind us who the designer of the car is. Very common for a Ferrari, especially in the 1980s. When we were doing our detailed photos, we also took note that every pane of glass has this Sigla emblem as well as a Ferrari emblem. I'm not sure if the windshield actually has this, but otherwise they do. But all of them are Sigla branded. So I suspect original glass at all 6 panes, but if not, certainly it's been replaced with OEM. There's a good look at the fuel door. Yeah, we have pictures of it opening on the detailed listing as well as what's underneath. You can see this is the opening for the engine compartment, and that the fuel neck gets exposed when that cover comes up. Working our way around. It's a cold day here, but I can feel a little bit of heat coming off the engine. You can see this ventilation is with the interest of cooling that engine with the 4.9 liter V12. A beautiful Ferrari emblem here on the deck, and then the prancing horse in the rear, where there's also vent work to let the air keep flowing. And beneath these strakes, we see the tail lights and a Testarossa emblem up there on the top of the cover. So we've got the twin exits on either side of the license plate there, and a little bit more of a strake work under there. But even that rear fascia is nice and clean. That red paint looks really good. Now I can't see quite what the camera is seeing right now because I've got it lower than my eyes, but nice clean condition. We also have some underside photos on the detailed listing, so you can have a look at those as well. Another neat feature of these period Ferraris, I noted this on the 308 we have, as well as the 348 we sold a couple months back. It's got the curved rear glass. So that's a really neat piece. And again, I mentioned earlier, it's Sigla branded with the Ferrari emblem up there as well. There's the Ferrari emblem. And I'm not sure if the camera can see that Sigla emblem, but I can see it with my naked eye. Working our way around, another Eagle VR50 here on the rear on the 255. Matching Pininfarina badge on the quarter here. Nice clean glass. I've got the windows down. We can see inside to that beautiful tan interior. And yeah, I don't know. There really isn't that much to say about such a beautiful car and in wonderful condition. The only flaws I've seen, other than those mentioned, one being there where the front air dam looks to have touched. There's a tiny little depression over here that I don't think the camera is going to see. We did our best to take a photo of it, a few photos of it actually, with a toonie for perspective sake, but I don't think the video camera is going to pick it up. And then there's another tiny uh, dimple right here. I think the video camera is picking that one up. I have a toonie in my pocket, so I'll just put that beside the dimple, and you can get a sense of the perspective in terms of the size. So pretty small when it's measured up next to that toonie. So I'm going to cut the camera now. We've got a diesel truck running around here, and we'll move over to the interior. Okay, the guys with the diesel truck have put in their honest day's work, and they're on their way. So, yeah, I think that wraps up for the exterior. We'll take a look now at the interior. It's always kind of fun. The 348 we sold a couple months back was somewhat similar. The door latch is quite hidden, but when you put your hand down there, it's quite intuitive. Sounds like we've still got the key in the ignition, so I'll remove that to get rid of that buzzing sound. And there's a little snow on my shoes, so I don't think I need to. I don't think I need to climb right in. So I'll just sit here on the rocker, between the rocker and the seat, and we'll get a good look at this interior. So door card, really nice. The darker brown carpet down below with the tan leather. And I did track in a tiny bit of snow there. But the good news is this darker brown mat with the prancing horse, it's actually protecting the proper factory floor mat. And then underneath, it's super clean under there. We took those out when we did the detailed photos, so you can see how clean it really is down there. I got to make sure to get that snow taken out before we put the car away for the day, which is coming up soon. We're starting to lose daylight. But I'm not noticing any shrinking of the leather on the dash, which these are somewhat prone to. With the low mileage, this car's probably led a pretty pampered life. Here's a good look at the odometer. So today it reads 13,750 in miles. Again, a U.S. market car. And so this car's going to go to its new owner under 14,000 miles, certainly. And if I pan out, you can see the 3-spoke steering wheel with the prancing horse emblem in the center, in the hub, where there is a horn. I think I showed this, so maybe it was in our demo video, but the headlights are operated with this stock, and then this one here is your turn signals, as you'd expect, and wipers over on the stock on the right side of the steering column. And as we work our way into the center, the car has a removable faceplate head unit. It's not in place, so you can see that's where it goes. But the nice thing is when the car is parked, you can flip that down and can't even see the radio. So there's a clock in there. I don't have the car running, so it's not illuminated, and a couple of more gauges in addition to the oil temp and water temp gauges in between the speedometer and tach. I should mention that the speedometer maxed out at 200 miles per hour, and the 10,000 RPM tach has a red line of about 6750 there, just short of 7,000. And there's the thing of beauty that all the Ferrari brethren love, the gated shifter. So dog leg with the 5-speed manual, and you can see the pattern there. It's labeled on the shift knob. HVAC controls in the center, as well as 4-way flashers and some more lighting, parking lights, and a simple center console. And these relate to those US spec seat belts, common certainly in the day. But all in all, this tan interior really does present well. The one flaw I did find, well, I suppose there are two. They're just very close together. That's why I associate one with the other. So there's a mark here on the driver's seat, and there's a similar but smaller mark here on the housing for the parking brake. Now you can see this little pouch. Ordinarily, the owner's manual attaché slides into there. We had it out though because we took some photos of some of the contents for the detailed listing, so you can take a look at the documentation we have there. And not much space in behind, but you can see what we do have here is very clean with the darker carpet over the tan interior. So the front compartment is released up here, and maybe we could take a quick look at that. And you can see a speaker down here as well. So I think that about wraps up our tour. The two seats, and you can see the Ferrari embossing on the headrest there. Quite a nice touch. And even the headliner looks nice and clean. So yeah, that's a good look at the interior. Now we'll move to some closing thoughts. Okay, for our closing thoughts, I wanted to show you the car with the headlights up. It looks just as great with them up as down. And one thing you don't see in too many cars with the retractable headlights is the two lights on each side. So again, this one is lot 243 on CollectorCarCanada.CA, 1987 Ferrari Testarossa with under 14,000 miles, 4.9 liter flat 12 engine. I don't think I've mentioned the horsepower rating. The factory rating for horsepower on this car was 385 horsepower. So quite substantial for the 80s, and even not sluggish by today's standards. So 385 horsepower, and the 5-speed manual with the gated shifter gets the power to the rear wheels. So that's a look at our lot 243 87 Ferrari Testarossa. Thanks for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car. Hi everyone, and welcome to another fabulous car here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.CA. Today, you can see we have another red Ferrari. This is lot 242. It's a 1981 Ferrari 308 GTSi. So the S stands for Spider, indicating that this is a Targa roof, fixed rear window, as you can see from the photos in our detailed listing. And the I stands for injection, as in fuel injected, because the original 308s that came circa 1975 were carbureted. And don't confuse it with the 308 GT4, which is a 4-seater. The GTB and the GTS are all 2-seaters like this one. So Rosso Corsa, race red, translated directly from Italian, on a beautiful tan interior for this one. The miles on this one are low. They read in miles, and it's under 38,000 miles. So take a look at our detailed listing, again, lot 242, for more information about all that. So I'm going to start it up, and we'll have a listen to the engine and the exhaust. And then, of course, we'll take a little exterior walk around, and we'll take a tour of the inside as well. So I have the key in my hand, so it's going to take me a minute to get the key into place. As you can see, we're filming this in February. The car was in storage. There are a couple shots of the car in the owner's garage. We're sitting on his driveway right now, about 35 feet from his garage. And it was attached to a trickle charger, and we didn't have any trouble starting it up. There's a startup video on the detailed listing as well. So the car's been started today. It has not been driven farther than the 35 feet I just described. So relatively cold start, but not ice cold start. Ice cold start, please refer to the video on the detailed listing. So here we go. I neglected to mention already, I'm sure it'll come up when I give the tour of the interior, gated shifter on this 5-speed manual, as you'd expect. So I have the clutch in, I've got the car in neutral and the handbrake on, so here we go for a start. trouble at all with that start. Nice and clean and sounds really healthy. We'll get a little closer sound to the exhaust when I handhold the camera to watch it. So, we'll let it idle, have a little listen. And now I'll hop out and change camera. Alright, so I've got the engine cover up. Here's a glam shot, 3/4 view from the driver's side. But as promised, let's go take a closer look at that engine and get a good listen to it. Really clean engine bay on this 81 308 GTSi. That's a good listen to the engine, and I'll get up close to the exhaust here. We got twin exits on either side. Now you can see this this vinyl cover is zipped up and closed. We do have photos of what's underneath on the detailed listing. The owner told us that it's an area down there that can be susceptible to rust, but we pulled up the carpet to give you the peace of mind that there's no rust down there. So again, take a look at our detailed listing for lot 242 to get a sense of that. I'll do a quick walk around with the car running, so you can hear that idle from the various angles. Quite a sexy look with the even with the engine cover up. And the prancing horse up front, both here as an emblem and down here on that intake. And while the car's running, I should probably show you those retractable headlights in the up position. Had those up. We do have stills of them on the detailed listing. So light switches here, kind of like a Japanese style actually, but we'll show you the operation of them. So you can see no trouble at all with the retractable feature. I didn't have that headlight operation right. You can see right here, there's another adjustment to get those headlights to the on position, which they're in right now. So we'll cut the engine, turn off those lights, and continue with our exterior tour. So I was saying earlier how the 308 began in 1975, but those 308s were carbureted. They moved to the injection in the early 80s. As I say, this one is a 1981, very well known, of course, from the Magnum PI series. I believe there were 8 seasons of Magnum PI, and this would have been the second last car used in the series. I think maybe seasons 5, 6, maybe 4, 5, 6. It started with the carbureted because this one wasn't available when the show started, and then there was a Quattro Valvole at the end, which the end for this car was 1984. So another neat feature on this car, certainly a conversation piece. There's a set of Michelin TRX tires. So TRX wheels, you can see the sizing is a little different than standard, but the
The owner also has a set of wheels with brand new tires, refinished wheels with brand new tires for a 328. He's offering with this car, should the new owner wish to convert to the more standard sizing. These tires you see here are, well, I'm certainly not a mechanic. I don't write safety checks, but they're a little on the old side. So check our detailed listing, as I say, for lot 242 for the details on the alternate set of Ferrari wheels with a brand new set of tires. So in getting to know this car, I've spent a couple of hours with it. I was lucky enough to be charged with the responsibility of the photos and videos for the detailed listing. It's pretty clean. I saw a tiny bit of stone chipping here on the black portion of the bumper, but even this lower air dam is quite clean. And as you saw, the headlights came up without any trouble, but even these black vents behind the headlights are really free of any noticeable marking. It's really hard to pick up in the lighting, but we did our best to show that this windshield is a Sigla windshield, so that's a quality European brand, might even be original. I'll leave the peanut gallery to do the homework on that one. So I did talk about the S for Spider. So it's a Targa top. So the black portion of this, it's got a nice vinyl finish, and that's removable. Again, even the Targa top is really free of any noticeable marks. There's maybe just a little mark there, but no chipping or breaks in the vinyl, certainly. I'd say the same for the vent work here on the rear side, and this intake along there is nice and clean too. So you can see where air gets fed into the engine. You might have noticed when I shut the car off, this is the door latch right here, and you got to give it a good firm shut, good firm push like you'd expect from an 80s Ferrari, made of steel. The original 308s were made of I think they called it glass dipped plastic, so pretty much fiberglass, but they had trouble with that and moved to steel. So this is a steel bodied car. I mentioned the TRX tires. They're a square setup, so same sizes all the way around. You can see they're 220 55 VR 390. That's a TRX specific sizing. The 328 set that comes with the car is a set of 16s, whereas the ones on the car right now are 15-inch. So here's maybe the biggest mark I've seen on the car so far, just on this little accessory light. I want to think it's wax, but I'm not going to scrape too hard on that. But just like I just said about the driver door, the engine compartment cover needs a good push down. There's a latch on either side, and if you just let it fall, I noticed that it doesn't really completely shut, but we've got it shut now, and it's got a nice gap there. You can see the venting above the engine here, and if I get in close, you can see some of the engine there. But good, sort of designed with cooling in mind, of course. And then, as I say, GTSi, so S to denote the Targa roof, and I for the fuel injection. 308, there's a lot of logic behind that as well. It's a 3-liter, 8-cylinder engine, midship mounted. And here's another look at the exhaust pipes without the car running. So you can see nice chrome-tipped dual exits on either side. Got the prancing horse on the opposite, the 308 GTSi badging, and then a Ferrari emblem right here on the rear deck. And working our way around. We're not blessed with quite as good a light as when we started the video, but it's always good to see the finish in various lights. Now, I'm never sure about these cars till I go see them, but I'm sure now about this one. The paint really does pop. It's actually kind of fun to be shooting this in the snow because the red is providing a great contrast against the snow. The typical Rosso Corsa, it is really popping. So I'll get a closer look at the venting up front. Now, just behind the chrome prancing horse, you might be able to see it through the venting there. There are a couple fans and a radiator up front, despite the midship engine. And that gives you a good look at that front air dam and how good the paint is on it. But I like to show any flaw I can find. I do see a bit of light cracking on each of these indicator lenses, and it looks like it's on the inside of the lens. I can feel it with my finger, but not very strong. I think if we felt it on the inside of the lens, it would be a little more noticeable. So all in all, lot 242, a 1981 Ferrari 308 GTSi, quite a pristine package. So we'll climb into the car, take a look at the cabin. I will sit on the edge here. I'm not going to bring my dirty boots into the cabin here, but you can see the instrumentation. The red line's at about 7750 on that 10,000 RPM tachometer. We've got a fuel gauge, water temperature gauge, and oil temperature in the center, with the speedometer on the left very modestly maxing out at 80 miles an hour. But that was the state of the world in 1981. It was a federal law in the US that maximum reading could be 85 miles an hour. So where that coloring starts after the 80, that's to indicate 85 miles an hour. But as you can see, a 6-digit mechanical odometer reading 37,146 today. So this car will be delivered to its new owner with under 38,000 miles. I don't expect there'll be more than one or two, if any, before it goes to its new owner. But there's a good look at it. This chrome latch release is for the front trunk. We'll take a look at that. There's a spare tire up there matching to the set of wheels that are on the car. That's just a little storage cubby hole. And of course, the magic of these 80s Ferraris that most people are after, that gated shifter sitting in neutral right now. Water temperature gauge there in the center with a clock which is functional. I'm going to take a look at my watch and I will tell you that the time is 3:45 here in the afternoon. And I'll also add that I did check it earlier and the time was accurate. So we got a functional clock.
We've got an updated aftermarket pile head unit with clock, as well as inputs for accessory and USB.
And we've got a nice Ferrari emblazoned, I guess I'd call that an ashtray, but I didn't see a lighter. Certainly it's free of any ashes. And the up and down indicating buttons are for the windows, as you might guess. We've got HVAC and AC controls here. Oh, here's the lighter right here. And some other switch gear. Even the boot for the handbrakes got that beautiful tan leather, Italian leather. Neat GTSi emblem over here on the right side of the dash. But a tidy package. Again, 2 seats in the GTSi in this case. It's only the early GT4s that had 4 seats. So they started in 75, but they didn't last much longer than that. A little bit of space in behind each seat here, but not a lot of space.
As I say, we'll show you that front storage compartment in a minute.
But neat curved glass here in the rear. Reminds me of a 348 we sold just a couple of months ago, whose owner is really happy with it, I might add. But yeah, that curved glass is consistent with this class of Ferrari at the time. So designed by Pininfarina, as you might expect. This car's design, the specific designer is the same fella who designed the Daytona, which of course has skyrocketed in value in recent years, as well as the Berlinetta Boxer. So certainly that good lineage for the car in terms of its specific designer at Pininfarina. We do see a few signs of the last couple of months of storage here at the owner's home. There are a few bits of dust here and there. You probably noticed some in the engine compartment when we looked at the engine as well, but a really clean car otherwise. So yeah, the sun's kind of fading here, but as I say, that's probably good. We get to see the quality of the paint in different light.
While we're at it here, we'll take a look at the front storage compartment.
So front hinge on this, and you can see that catches to leave it open. And an original TRX tire here. I did notice the radial X marking indicating the Michelin brand is probably down in there. But it looks like an unused tire. Certainly great for provenance, maybe not so great for use. And there's that radiator with the two fans I mentioned in place. So I call this an engine storage compartment. That's probably not a fair assessment. I suppose it's appropriate for tire storage, but that's about it. So to release, I press the button on this little shock absorber type item, and I'll let it down pretty slowly here. And we'll take a look too at the engine compartment without the engine running. Here's the release here. We've got a picture of that data plate on the detailed listing for lot 242. You want to take a close-up look at it, that's your spot. And here's a good look at the 3-liter 8-cylinder midship mounted engine. It's matched up with a 5-speed transaxle, and I've already mentioned how it features the gated shifter. We took a look at that in the interior as well. But all in all, very clean engine compartment here. And we're planning to also have some driving videos on the listing, so you can get a sense of the sounds of the engine just a little better than idle if you take a look at that. We've also got a close-up of this data plate on the detailed listing for lot 242. That's just setting out oil specs. But yeah, for a guy my era, it's just exciting to see the red trim on the valve covers and such. So yeah, transverse mounted. You can see that we've got 4 cylinders in front of the oil filter and 4 cylinders in the rear of it. I'm just going to take another shot of that profile with the engine cover up. It really does look neat. So we'll close that up and move on to some closing thoughts. One last lap around it for posterity's sake as the sun fades a little bit here in the afternoon. You can see the lights illuminated on the detailed listing as well for lot 242. But that's a good look at this this beautiful 1981 Ferrari 308 GTSi.
Okay, so that's a good look at our 1981 Ferrari 308 GTSi. Again, under 38,000 miles on the 6-digit odometer. 3-liter 8-cylinder engine mounted midship, transverse mounted, 5-speed transaxle with the gated shifter, Ferrari's trademark at the time. So again, it's lot 242 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. We know this Ferrari is going to make someone happy, maybe it'll be you, but do take a look at our detailed listing. Hundreds of photos there, as well as other demo videos, clean Carfax and a paragraph form listing there. So please do take a look. Again, lot 242, CollectorCarCanada.CA.
Thank you for watching, and on to the next car.